while we wrap our heads around the first example in the hack that you shared, can you share another such hack where you can take us through step by step, especially for the listeners to understand that it's not always such an easy process, but anything that was, interesting that you came across in your journey of, hacking, because I'm sure having given so many trainings and of course having done so many engagements, you must have become domain admin many times. So would you like to talk about any one of those?
Um, this is again when I initially started testing, there was one such project where we had been asked to test their external systems, basically all the systems which are exposed to the internet. And as part of that test, we essentially found they had one particular application which was exposed to the internet to access email. And because at that time they didn't have um, um, yeah, they had a VPN set up for all of their employees to log in order to access all the systems, and they also had to use the VPN in order to access the email. But as part of a shadow IT, I think so someone had just published an app which they could access from anywhere, where people could just log in. It had got a separate, its own login system for that. It was not using the company managed AD for it, which was being used by certain employees. But because it was shadow IT, none of the credentials were actually hard to guess. So once we were able to enumerate
Okay.
all the different employees who were working there, we just created a username list and tried some simple passwords and basically got into a few different email accounts of the employees.
So when you say enumerate, you're saying the usernames of various employees, right?
Yes.
So you made a list of those usernames, and that's where you tried logging in into these accounts.
Yeah.
Okay, please go on.
So even in that attack, we had a few challenges. Although it was deployed by someone, it still was under the firewall controls which they had. So essentially, as soon as it saw us sending traffic to it, it would just blacklist our IP address for a certain period of time. So then we basically had to create a few different proxy servers which we could utilize to do that attack, and finally managed to get access to a few different users.
Can
Um,
you
yeah.
maybe just take a step back and also explain creating proxy in the process? How does that help for the listeners?
So proxy is essentially a system which you can use, which can basically masquerade your IP address which you're using to access that particular system. And basically, it is nothing else but another system running on the internet with that specific software configured. So you can spin up systems on the internet anywhere. Nowadays, you have so many different cloud options, and just basically tunnel all the traffic coming from your system through that machine. So the end system which you are accessing sees that the connection is actually coming from that proxy server instead of your direct connection to the internet.
Okay. So what
Yeah.
happened next?
So as soon as we got access to that, we just quickly called up the client saying, "Hey, we found this application, and it can be abused to get access to a few different email systems." And surprisingly, the client was like, "Okay, so what can you do with that?"
Yeah, that we hear that a lot, right? I mean, here
Yeah,
you're just being the that reminded me of the term ethical hacker. So you call the client and say that, see, this is how it is, and they're challenging you further, which is interesting.
yeah, yeah. So then yeah, we just had another call with the client saying, "Hey, what are some of the things you are fine with us doing with the access which we have?" And he essentially was like, "No, just go for whatever you want to do.
Oh,
Just
nice.
in case you get any other access, then just let me know, and I might tell you to stop there." What we basically then started doing was send phishing emails from those ones which we have compromised to other employees, trying to basically find what the actual credential that user was using, because what we had was a separate credential, not the actual credentials they used to access the systems. So we were able to send a few tickets being raised to the IT team who reset the password for some user accounts for us, set up a VPN client for us, and then we were basically able to get internal access through that.
Whoa, so you're basically officially in the system and now you're raising tickets as a part of the process. You're going by the process, raising the
Yeah,
ticket. I think that will not raise more eyebrows because what's in the ticket is generally officially by an employee for a specific
yeah.
need of the company. And that's why you're asking them to reset the passwords for. Were you also choosing accounts, some key accounts or whatever account that came in front of you?
Initially, we were able to compromise an intern's account. Um,
Oh, okay.
instead of any privilege, we found a few who were managers and stuff, but we chose to start with the intern account because he's probably just started new. So it's if he
No one cares for the
cannot
interns, huh?
log in into his system, he can still get
Uh-huh.
by. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, I think that's an example of going by the pretext of what, just for the listeners. So when you are, even when you choose your accounts, right, you can do that carefully so that even if there is noise, people can sort of make sense of it. Here, any fresher, new joinee or intern will have this pretext very well set that they are not able to log in or they've forgotten their password because they're very new to the system. So that doesn't raise too many eyebrows.
yeah, yeah, makes it much easier to fly under the radar that way.
Yeah.
And once you use, you can basically then utilize that access to get familiar with the other systems, and then you can go after the other accounts which might have more privileges, and then allow you to basically move laterally within the network.
So what was your story like from there to the domain admin?
After we got access inside the network via the VPN, we started enumerating different systems. We were able to get access to a few different system admin accounts, and basically create our own slow attack map by enumerating different systems, how they are working, and then basically utilizing that access to escalate our privileges further. So going from that, we were able to access certain desktop admins, then move to server admins, and then we basically got domain admin through there.